were. Last time we created a path. We'll give a quick demo of it. Dirt creates underneath where we are. I can't give a demo because I didn't run it. Dirt goes out in front of us. We can never fall off the path if we sneak. We can just keep walking and walking and walking, and dirt will form always in front of us. I can jump and make the dirt spawn in front of me, and various things like that. So we did that. I left as an exercise to the reader for you guys to get blockarray working or any sort of thing like that. But what we're going to do in this one is we're going to keep track of the dirt that we had, and we're going to keep track of the blocks that we replaced with dirt, and we're going to put them back after we've gone away from them. So I'm going to have another variable in here that is cleanup equals, and it's going to be default true for now. And if cleanup is true, then as I walk around, my path will disappear behind me and go back to whatever it was before. Now, in order to do this, we need to create an array to keep track of the blocks that we had. So we need to keep track of both where we were and what was in them originally. So I have old blocks and I just have a blank array. And now I'm going to create inside of my if loop, when I've actually done something, another if statement, if cleanup, I'm going to have old block, and this is also going to be an array. It's going to be both the position, which is blockplace, and what the old block was. So blockplace is the position, and the old block I use mc.getBlock. And I put this in the wrong place. So I need to clean that up here. I need to do this before I've changed the block. So if I'm going to clean up, then I need to keep track of my old block. It is blockplace and Minecraft.setBlock along with where that block was. And then I need to append this to my list. Old blocks dot append old block. Okay, append means that I am putting this on to the end of my list. I'm going to save that, and I'm just going to print old block so that I can test and see that my array is doing things correctly. And so over here, I'm going to quit. I should have done that already. I'm going to run it, and it says that I have an error, that my direction failed. I think that is just the server didn't like me error. So we're going to try this one more time. Nope, happened again. I don't think that anything I did should have affected that. But I'm going to, oh no, it did. I have set block here, and I meant to type in get block. And it failed because I tried to set the block, but I didn't tell it what I wanted it set with. So we'll try and run that again. And it's telling me what my old block was down here that it kept track of. And as I walk, it's telling me that there were grass blocks, some air. Okay, and those are the lists that are going into, that's the information that's going into our array so that we can replace them. Now I'm going to go here, and instead of printing an old block, I'm going to look and see if my length, I always forget how to do lengths. I think it's oldblocks.length. Maybe not. Is greater than 5. So if I have more than 5 blocks that I'm keeping track of, I'm going to do something with them. I'm going to print whee! I'm just debugging here. As I go along, I'm seeing to make sure that things go right. I don't remember how to find the length of a list of an array, and I think I'm right here with that length, but I'm not positive. So instead of putting code here that I could care about, I'm putting some that will just test it for me. So I'm going to run that. I'm going to walk until my list gets long. I didn't actually run the code. Oh, I did run the code and it gave me an error and I didn't notice. So it says my list has no attribute length. And so I come back up here. Oldblocks dot. And it's right, I don't see. We'll try count here. That looks possible. Otherwise, we'll just go ask the internet. I don't play with arrays a lot. I use other functions. Nope, it didn't like count. Well, maybe it wanted. There. Try that. Nope. Okay. We'll go consult the internet in one moment. I'm too stubborn. Try that. Nope. Okay. So Python array length. Use the len thing. So x equals len cards like that, and I did length instead. Okay. There we go. And see how it turned a little bit yellow on us there? That's what should have told me that that would be a good thing to try. Okay. Now, put that. Walk over here, and we should get a whee being typed out. But first I need to quit Chrome. There we go. And it started typing whee as soon as we got too many lengths or too many blocks in our array. So that's great. We can now see that our length is too long. And then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to state cleanup block is equal to oldblocks dot, and I want I think I want pop, and that should get me the first element in the array. I think it's actually going to get me the last element of the array though, which is a problem. But I don't see a push here. So let's see what that gets me. And then I'm just going to print cleanup block. Just like I did before. So we're just testing to see if we're getting what we expect to be getting. I want to get here the very first element of the array. And unfortunately, I do believe that pop gives me the last element of the array. And that what I actually want here instead of append is something that is pre-append, which means shoving the block onto the beginning of the array. And I don't see a push that will let me do that. So let's try this. See what we get. So I know I just got a couple of blocks. Okay, so it's telling me it's all air, which is what I would expect. But as I come up here, I want to see how quickly, if this grass is the first thing that comes. Yep, it is. So it should have popped off. What I just did was this grass block we just added, and it just immediately came off. Whereas what I would have wanted to see was a few airs after I got the grass block, and then the grass block coming off last. So what I'm doing right now is I popped off the final element in the array, which is great, except for our old block I also put as the last element in the array. And what I want to do is put our old block as the first element in the array. So I want to see if there's an immediate way to do that. Oldblocks dot. I have append. I have insert. There we go. That's what I want. And I want it to tell me how to insert something. Here we go. And it says to put it at the index and then the object that I want. So I want to insert as the 0th block my old block. We're going to try that. And I think this will do what we want. Control C to quit. Run it again. Going out a little bit, getting it full, and now should have some error to replace because we're getting rid of the old ones. But then if I go back, I have a vine suddenly appearing. I think this will do what we want. We should get some dirt here eventually. Yep, it took us a little while because it was cleaning up our old stuff. Okay, perfect. So now instead of printing the cleanup block, I actually want to place the cleanup block. So I'm going to grab this phrase where we set a block. I'm going to do minecraft.setBlock, and I don't want blockplace.x, y, and z. I want cleanup block, and I want the zero rate element in that array is our block place. So cleanup block 0x, cleanup block 0y, and cleanup block 0z. Here, let me make this actually a little bit cleaner. And I will do cleanup block place is cleanup block 0, and cleanup block type is cleanup block 1. So this is the block that we put in. Remember, it was the placement and then the type of block. It's the block that we get out is the placement and the type of block. We don't actually need to do that, and I wouldn't normally, but arrays are fairly new for some of you, so I'm just trying to make it a little bit more obvious what's going on. So we're using the cleanup block place for the X, Y, and Z value, and we're using the cleanup block type to tell it what block to set. And let's try it. So now as we walk around, let me actually walk. If I turn around, I should see a vanishing trail, including the one that I was on. I think we want to make the length of our trail something more like 10, so that what happened to me didn't just happen. What happened is I placed too many blocks and I lost the block I was currently standing on. Okay. Now drop down, so I'm walking. And we'll see that as I turn around, I will eventually lose the block I'm standing on because I'm never actually replacing it. But we are getting air back where we were before. And if I were to walk over to these vines, it might not be perfect because the vines are a little bit harder to replace than blocks. But if I walk over to this area and I go through the vines, oops, and go over here to where there's grassy area and a nice stripe here, when I turn around, I should see that things are getting replaced in the way that I left them, including this little stripey area right here where we missed a block. If I keep walking forward for a bit, I need to walk forward more than 10 blocks. That stripey area got replaced just as it was. And if I come up here where there's some gravel and all of the weird diamonds that I created, I want to go down. As you can see, there can be some issues with having a path created underneath you wherever you go. Okay, now I'm going to walk. And we'll see that as I walk around here, I get lots of things replaced with dirt. But as I continue to walk around, I don't leave a big dirt path like I did before. It replaces with exactly the box that were here before. And that's what our goal was to do. So I could walk on a beautiful path of diamonds. And everything would be fantastic. I wouldn't be destroying everything behind me. I would be creating a path of diamonds for myself. But then replacing everything back just the way it was. As you can see, as I look around again, one of the things our block array isn't doing is checking to see if we are repeating blocks by looking around. So the block underneath my feet has been replaced. and that's how I fell out of the error before. But fixing that has its own set of complications, so we're not going to work on that right now.